Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Alice Marie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hujaniacha, hujanisahau, hujabadilika, bado wewe ni Mungu. Have you watched that song? It was my first song and I really love this song, It still encourages me. So if you have not watched it, kindly scroll up and watch that song. It's really beautiful. So now this is another day and I'm so thankful to God. He has blessed me and I hope you're also very blessed, just like the way I am blessed. I realize every time that we come across a new person in our circle, we really like knowing how they are, where they're coming from, how their lives have been, and what have you. And therefore, now this is my story. You want to know about me? Just be tuned in. All right? So I grew up in the village, just like any other girl, any other baby. I was born in a place called Kega village. And I come from Gatundu South. You all know about our president, Uhuru Kenyatta, where he comes from. I also come from those sides, but of course not from the same village. He comes from Ishaweri. I come from a village, a very small village called Kiga. And I was born just like any other child. Being in the rural village and having parents who are not well up, actually, I grew up knowing that my dad and my mom live at home. Like they don't go anywhere. Like my dad was not working, my mom was not working, so we would wake up and then do the house chores and also go to the farm. We had coffee. We still have coffee up to date. My dad is late. My mom is still alive. Very healthy and kicking. Yeah, and I was born as we are 7 in the family, though I have a step brother because my dad had another wife, but the wife died, and after I think a period of 6 years is when now he got married to my mom. And I didn't grow up with my step brother. I think by the time I was getting born, my brother had already moved from our home and had gone somewhere. He was already a grown up, and so I never knew that we had a stepbrother. But when I was grown, at least to understand, I was grown enough to understand things. That's when now I was told, yeah, this guy who comes here is your brother. And he was a very good person, and he is still a very good person. So he lives very far away. He lives in Thika. That's where he was given land by my dad, and that's where he lives with the family. And he's a very cool guy. So I count him as our firstborn. And I also have another brother who is now our firstborn, the first child of my mother. And I am the sixth born, or should I say seventh born, because we were 7 in the family. Now, when I add the stepbrother, we become 8. So, yes, we are 5 girls and 3 boys. And being the second last born, you're almost like a child. You behave like a child all throughout, because of course you spend a lot of time with your mother. Then when the rest of the people are being beaten because they are touching you and they are telling you bad things, they are annoying you, they are beaten. And so I grew up like a small, even when like a baby, like just a baby. I was always behaving like a baby, because again, there's a difference between me and our last born, a whole almost 4 years. And so you can imagine I spent a lot of time as the last born. And so even when our last born came, I never recognized him as our last born, and therefore I behaved and I felt like I'm the one who needed to be pampered, should have been pampered by my mom and everybody else. So it was good. I loved my growing up in shags. Hatukuwa tunavaa viatu, just like the same story with other people who are in the village and other people who I say poor. I don't like saying that. I come from a humble family. What? We were poor. Poor, poor, poor. That's what I say. We were poor because we would come from school and we never used to have lunch. Sometimes there's no lunch. Sometimes there's no supper. Yani, we just lived a very miserable life. But we never used to experience anything like hunger because, again, we had a lot of fruits in the garden. We had avocados. We had I think we had plenty of avocados, and even right now, if you can eat 3 good avocados, I am so sure you don't need anything. So if we happened to have githeri, beans and maize, and then we have the avocados and we have salt on the side, we are done. Whether we do that on lunch at lunchtime or at night, I mean, we were good to go. And so we never complained of being hungry. And most of the time we would do githeri, and this githeri never used to have beans, so it's just maize. It's just maize. And imagine, we survived and came out very strong. We were able to work at the farm. We were able to fetch water from the borehole. We never had a river. We still don't have a river up to now. We had a borehole, and that borehole is still there. That's why we used to go and fetch water. And then every day, every day, we would go and fetch water. You're coming from school. When you come from school, that is now in primary. Come from school, either you go to the farm, uende ukalime, and that time your mom has told you have got to go and work at the garden. Unalima uko kwa kahawa, unalima unalima kabisa kabisa, and then again we have to go and fetch water, bring it home. And then, of course, my mom is the one who used to cook most of the time. So I never got an opportunity to actually know how to cook when I was growing up, because, again, I had other 4 sisters ahead of me. And so, I mean, I'm a baby. How would I even cook? I was a baby. I never, actually, nilitoka primary, high school, bado sikuwa najua kupika, because, hey, and me, that's how I was brought up. So now, yes, it was good. And then I went to high school, and I was so happy to go to high school, to a boarding school. In fact, I was relieved of those jobs at home. Fetching water, kulima, kupeleka kahawa kwa factory. Sometimes we would go there and sleep. Like, we spent the whole night there. We have gone to the factory, and the coffee is a lot, and we are so many there. So we would probably stay the whole of the night, and then in the morning is when now we are through with the factory and we are going home. And now when I went to a boarding school, I was so happy, such that even when we closed, I used to feel bad. I used to feel sad when other people who had come from Nairobi were getting happy and excited that they were going home. Me, I was usually sad. I used to get very sad. But anyway, si bado nilikuwa naenda nyumbani. Naenda napata zile majobs ziko niliziwacha bado zinaningoja. So life went like that. I cleared my high school, and then, of course, I went to college. And the rest is history. So there's one thing that I never liked when I was in primary. And I don't know, I think that's me. And even up to date, by the way, I don't like that thing. And it's okay. You can have your own opinions. And this is my own personal opinion. Me, I hated to be beaten. I didn't like those punishments of being beaten at you're not understanding a subject, so you're being beaten by a teacher. I don't know, you came to school late, and then you're beaten, and then still you're making noise, and then you're beaten. I don't know. I mean, I didn't understand why we were being beaten. And even up to now, but still, I do not advocate for children to be beaten. That's because, especially if they have failed a subject or they're not performing well in school. Because, okay, there are people who can say that it's good to be beaten because then you work hard. You work hard so that you can get good grades and what have you. But for me, that's not how I reason. Because even when we are bringing up our children, we are told, okay, fine, you can beat them, but I think it works better if you can talk to them, just have time with them, sit them down, explain to them, tell them the explain the consequences of them failing in school, of them not performing well. Explain to them, with love. Because I think in primary school, we never got love from our teachers. And I think that's why they were just beating us. And then it's like they were not realizing that some people can do better in this subject and then not do good in this other subject. Because even when we cleared Form 4, we chose, different things. Why? Because we cannot be good in every subject that we are doing. And that's why there are people who are doing nursing, there are those people who are doing teaching, there are those people who are acting, there are those people who are good in this and that, and what have you. And therefore I still do not advocate for children being beaten in primary school. And that's me. You have your own opinion, it is okay, I respect your opinion. But if it's one thing that used to make me feel bad and even hate teachers, hate, like hatred. I would cry, remembering that I was beaten. I would cry even when I'm at home. I would still cry because I was beaten. And I feel that even if I was beaten, I never got to understand that particular subject. Anyway, it would feel bad. So you're being beaten, and then again, you're not being shown how to do it. So you're beaten today, you are beaten the following day, you're beaten the following week, you're beaten the following month. And I think that's why so many people would run away from school. Because we had so many dropouts when I was in primary. So many dropouts. People refused to go to school because you get a transfer from your school to another one, the story is the same. You move from that school to another one, the story is the same. And there are people who were not even understanding these things that we were learning. We were reading so many things like art and craft. What is that now? Art and craft. Okay. Whatever it is. I don't know. We are music. I don't know what. So many subjects, and people are not understanding. Mathematics up to now. There are people who went to high school. From high school, they went to university, and still they don't understand mathematics. So imagine you being beaten from primary. You go to a high school where people are beaten, and then you go to college where you're not beaten, and still you cannot understand. You even hate yourself. So that's one thing that I didn't like about primary school. And then one thing, the second thing that I didn't like about our primary school is the way we were treated by some teachers. Some teacher, if a teacher comes with there's a particular teacher. Let me talk about a particular teacher who used to be very tough, very, very extremely tough. And she was a woman, and she had her children there as well. Them, they used to come clean. They had shoes, they had socks. In fact, we just used to stare at them, like, we're just staring at them because of the way they were looking. They were clean all the time. I think they had they had several pairs of school uniforms, and therefore they were clean each and every day. And then they used to carry food, and their food used to smell nice, and they were just looking good. Their hair was done. There were two boys and two girls, and they were just looking awesome. And then they would be dropped by their dad. They would be dropped there in school in the morning, and then in the evening when the dad was coming from work, they would also be picked from school and they'd go home. So they never used to come across any dust, any dirt, any whatever. So the mother was bad. The mother used to beat us. Now the worst part was when the daughter, the firstborn, was it the firstborn? The firstborn, the second. I think she was the firstborn or the second, but I cannot remember. She lost her pen. When she lost her pen, let me tell you, because we were 2 streams or 3 streams. We were 2 streams. Do you know, we were not even in, I wasn't in the same class with her. But do you know, both classes plus another, we were in standard 4. And there was standard 5. We were taking those 2 streams, standard 4 and standard 5. We were all beaten, and we were not beaten by her alone. She went and called other teachers. We were beaten. You know, we were beaten with a pipe, with a stick. We were beaten. We were beaten at because now the daughter had lost her pen, and we were told that we were thieves. We were told so many things. In fact, when they were done beating us, I think it was time for me now to leave school. Like, I didn't want to continue with school anymore because you're being beaten because of something that you don't know. You're not a thief. You've never stolen anything. First of all, even accessing her stuff was next to impossible because even we were not going to her, like, spending time with her and what have you, because, she was on another level and what have you, and all the other children were on another level. And therefore, we were not really even sitting with her, like that. And then now you're being beaten. It's in the afternoon. And the mother just decides, we are going to be beaten. 2 classes. Standard 4 had 2 streams. Standard 5, 2 streams. Mnakuja mnatolewa class. Munalalishwa chini. Mnatandikwa na the whole school, all teachers. Yes, they beat us. Walituchapa, wakatuchapa. Let me tell you right now, I'm this old. I still have those marks on the legs. Yes. The pipes, venye zilikuwa zinajichora huku miguu juu, tulikuwa tunachapwa miguu, tunachapwa matako, tunachapwa mgongo, tunachapwa kila mahali. Like, by the time we were going home, we were just red. You were black, but you are red. Umefura kila mahali. And imagine, I don't know, even if we went to the police station, because we were planning to go and report, I don't think, because there were other people who had done that before, I don't think there was anything that was done. And I fail to understand why this still goes on in primary and in high school. Me, beating is a no-go zone. Beating is a no-go zone. Because I think I went through beating for things that I had not done. And that really pisses me off. And that's why I still say that I don't think that it is good for children to be beaten just like that. Just do your research. If you're a teacher, do your investigation. Find out what is going on before you start beating those children. Because those children can pray prayers that will really, mess your life. Because it is not right. I think children in primary do not have a right. Children in high school do not have a right. And that's why we have had so many cases of children being killed by teachers, because walimu tu anatoka nyumbani akona mahasira tu zake. So they come to class and they start beating them. They'll just hit a child wherever they are hitting them. Just like that from nowhere. And that's why we have got so many cases. Children are being beaten and they die. And it's so sad. It's very sad. I wish the government can just put, firm measures that children should not be beaten in primary. If you are tired of that child because you think that they're not performing well, then you cannot teach them. I don't even understand. You cannot teach them. What do you mean you cannot teach them? And you're employed. Then it's you to leave, by the way. It's for the teacher to leave, not for the child to leave. Because the child is there, asome miaka zake, and then they proceed to high school. High school akae miaka 4, alafu atoke aende college. Lakini hii kitu ya kushinda ukipiga watoto, kuchapa watoto. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And me, by the way, I never even enjoyed primary life, and it's a very boring life. It was a very, very boring life, and I pity children who are still being beaten by teachers. And I wish teachers would just know this, that we are not happy as parents when our children are beaten. Me, I don't like those things. Just talk to your child. Call the parents, talk to them. If it's your child who is stealing, let the child be beaten by the parents, and not the other way around. Or if the parent gives you permission to beat, their child, then it's okay. Go ahead and discipline them, because I think that's what you people say about disciplining. Because even at home we don't just beat children. ati amefanya hivi unachapa, amefanya hivi unachapa. Hapana, sit them down, explain to them, tell them it is not right what you're doing, it is wrong, it will not go well with you. Kwa sababu uchape mtoto ukose kumchapa, by the way, kama huyu mtu atakuwa mwizi, they still become thieves, they still become very indisciplined. So it's okay to just do your part. Na kuchapa, wacha kuchapa sana. Kama ni lazima uchape, chapa to scare, but don't chapa mpaka mtoto anakuwa na another ka esteem yake, self esteem yake inaenda chini sana. Huyo mtu hii anajichukia, there is nothing that anaona kama anaweza atakufanya. They are not, you know, we hate. A child can even have that inferiority complex, which is a very bad thing. If you suffer from inferiority complex when you're young, hiyo kitu imagine unaendanga nayo mpaka ukikuwa mkubwa, and by the time now hiyo kitu inaisha, miss out on so many other opportunities because you felt like unwanted, you felt unworthy, you felt hated. You're all the time you're angry, you want to stay on your own. I mean, you're just hating yourself. And therefore, me, primary school, I never enjoyed life. It was hell. It was hell. It was hell. Yeah. So that was me. I think high school was good. For me, high school was so good. We never used to be beaten. I never even came across we are being beaten. In fact, me, I went to a missionary school, and by there, let me tell you, missionary school at that time, in that school, the headmistress that we had, hakuwa nataka even another teacher disciplining you or anything. There was a time some students, I don't know, they had made noise, and then the teacher on duty came, got them, read their names out, and they were taken. Tulikuwa na kokoto hapo nje. Then they were told that now, because now they cannot be beaten. Teachers never used to beat us. The only person who was supposed to beat us was the headmistress. And now the headmistress is not there. I think she was not at home. Because there were teachers' quarters around the school. So she was not in the school compound. I think either she had gone to town or something, but she was not there. But she came and found the students kneeling. Kwa kokoto. Let me tell you, karibu huyo mwalimu by the way afutwe kazi. Karibu afutwe kazi. You cannot do that to children. I mean, why are you doing that to unawaumiza? In fact, waliambiwa waamke na hata miguu zao zilikuwa zinatoka damu. So it was very bad. It was not allowed. It's only the headmistress was the one who was supposed to discipline us. Anakuchapa tatu kwa mkono, na hata si nyuma, tatu peke yake, na si umefanya makosa mobo. Yeah. So I enjoyed high school, and then of course I left, and I was done with primary, and I was done with high school, and yeah, that's my story. And after that, of course, I'll come back and I'll tell you about my life after that. All right. For now, it's a bye-bye. Have fun. Enjoy. Nawapenda.